And just like that, as we get new content and are riding the high of Helldivers 2's ultimate comeback story, we once again are faced with controversy. What's the controversy this time? Well, it's going to revolve basically around the premium superstore rotation collab with Killzone. It would seem that Helldivers is going to be officially following the trend of crossovers with other IPs, but unlike other games, they have said on record that they will be only doing crossovers when the time's appropriate and if it fits the universe. So we won't be seeing Nicki Minaj or 21 Savage and Helldivers spreading managed democracy, but we may see stuff like, well, Killzone, and that's here. Which when I saw that, I was extremely hyped because Hellgas are high-key peak soldier design, okay? I'm a sucker for gas masks. I'm sorry. So what's the issue? Well, it would seem some people feel that this crossover is predatory, exploiting marketing tactics like FOMO, or fear of missing out if you don't know, and on top of that have high prices to the point that this collab is about the same price of 2 war bonds for extremely less amount of content that you would see in a traditional war bond that's like $10. I've also seen some other complaints like pay to win, and I want to address it all. Now, excluding the rage bait to get you to click on the video, I do think there is some merit in these complaints, but I'll be honest, some of the other ones I've heard are a little delusional and just feels like fluff to make a already stable, simple complaint that's valid seem way bigger than what it really is. So let's talk about FOMO. First, since it's pretty reasonable complaint, to mention immediately before going in depth on the topic, Pilestead did tweet out that Arrowhead will be updating the store to ensure that there's a permanence in some form when it comes to the content that's shipped on there. So it seems this concern will be addressed in later patches. And to be honest, the store rotational nature of gear, I feel, was good early decision since, well, there was barely any armor sets. So like having gear you missed came back was pretty quick and reasonable. However, nowadays with all the new gear and the rotation on something you might want can be taxing. I truly don't understand why companies can just they just can't do an MTX store like Warframe or even Gears 5, surprisingly, where just everything's available and the only rotation there is just what's on discount for the week. I think that would be the perfect way to challenge the FOMO complaint because yes, the gear isn't gonna be gone forever like a Fortnite crossover event, but that long as hell wait will be killer for sometimes, and obviously that is FOMO. So I understand and sympathize and hope the changes Arrowhead pushes for something almost exactly like a Gears 5 or Warframe storefront. They did say that they were going to be adding a page 2 to the store for more permanent items and increasing the duration of the Killzone stuff. So that's a good band-aid fixes, but we're going to need more done as soon as possible. Next, and probably the most contentious, is the price of these items, and probably where I'm going to be getting some hateful comments. With them being around almost the price of 2 full war bonds, I've seen some people become very angry and downright conspiratorial on the reasons behind it. Now, to address the last claim, since it's probably the more rage-inducing, it's pretty popular leaker who leaks about almost everything to do with Helldivers on their Twitter. This was a crossover that was actually leaked the night of the big event, the big update of VGA. All right, when Omens of Tyranny came out and I was done doing just like basically like the first mission and I was just doom scrolling through Twitter waiting for my lobby to fill up, I had already seen almost the entire quote war bond get leaked. So basically the entire community knew this was coming. In that leak, it showed that this crossover was actually a war bond in early unreleased, in caps, quote, unreleased promo art, which is what I have contention with. A lot actually, is that the community at large takes these leaks, since most of the time they are true, and will run with it. And due to the accuracy of the leaks, will get extremely hyped. But when it's not shipped like how they were told through the leaks, will get extremely disappointed and get angry at Arrowhead. A perfect example is the DSS, which was leaked to be a clan platoon system with clan-specific stratagems that would drop. Obviously, that wasn't the case. The DSS was more of a, hey, when we all vote on this space station going to a certain planet, we will be having passives and huge modifiers in our favor to liberate or succeed in defending that planet. And that uncontrolled messaging can lead to an uncontrolled expectation, which has been happening a little bit more consistently throughout this community more than others, since leaks here are 100% usually. They're like 99%, or not 99, I should say. I should say they're like 95% accurate most of the time. But it's like when I have factual information, but I don't know what that information means, so I put my thoughts on what it could possibly be. So that theorization of what that content might be may sound cool, but it's obviously not what we're actually going to be seeing in game. And due to that theorizing that the community and the leakers do can lead to unproportional expectations that are definitely not going to be in. And this isn't solely due to the leakers' fault. I think also that Helldivers 2 or Arrowhead developers should be doing way more with talking about what's coming instead of doing surprise drops, which I love a surprise drop, especially when the surprise drop is having the content that day that it gets announced. I love that, trust me. But I feel like being able to get ahead of the leakers and set expectations and stop allowing YouTubers and leakers to have full control on kind of the like messaging that the game's going in the future could easily tamper down the fires of rage when stuff like this happens. In the end, the prices are high, and if the rotation timer wasn't there, I'll be honest, I'm fine with the prices being as high as they are. This is a $40 or $60 game, depending on the edition you get, with a very easy, but just as equally boring way to farm the premium currency. I don't know what other game allows you to so easily farm the premium currency. I play, I will say I do play more than most, but in like one day, by doing just tier 10s, and not even trivials, I can easily get like 100 super credits. Besides the first war bond I have yet to spend, besides the first war bond that came out, I forgot what it was called. It was like some futuristic thing. I have yet to spend any money on this game. Especially when you have huge updates like Omens of Tyranny, a company needs to find a way to monetize its community to fund future projects. Not everything can be free. And on top of that, it adds something to grind for. Like I said, if this had no rotational timer, which is like, yes, it's FOMO, but it is like the most lightest form of FOMO, because unlike other games which will have something in the store and rotate out, usually when it gets rotated out, it's never coming back. In this game, it will come back. It's just that, and we all know it's going to come back. The only thing is that we don't know how long it's going to take because there's just so much stuff in the store nowadays. So if that wasn't there, I really don't think people would be as mad, honestly, because it is actually super easy to farm a lot of super credits. So I don't see, if you didn't want to wait, you could just buy it. And I don't see a problem with that. That's one way that you can monetize your community. Seems we are once again going through a review bombing era, which is really sad. I saw some real stupid ones like how Killzone is not a popular IP anymore, so why is it even in the game? Who cares? I'm gonna be honest with you. One, Killzone used to be a really popular game. I don't know if we're rewriting history on this one. It used to be like the flagship for PlayStation games, but then obviously I think it was the one that was like the tech demo for PS4 that kind of shitted on the IP. And honestly, that I think it was like a great starting off point. We're starting off with something that could feel like it's in Helldivers. And I see a lot of people saying that this is a cash grab, which feels like an empty complaint most people make when they are mad something costs money. Every war bond in the game is a cash grab. It's put in the game to make sure that like, hey, like please give us $10 this month. Give us our monthly $10. If you haven't been good enough or playing long enough to grind out super credits, please, we would like some $10. That's a cash grab. It just depends if it feels warranted, which, like I said, I think just because the rotational timer's there and that sense of there might be a moment where we might have to wait like a month or two before we can see this stuff again in the store, that's where the real problem is, not so much that it may cost money, because I didn't see anyone complaining about said cash grabs at launch or when more and more stuff was getting added to the store. I see that people are also, I think this is the one I really hate the most, which is the pay-to-win accusations of Killzone crossover, simply because there is a gun now present in the store. This is like a neuron activation moment and not much thought past that. This is like something I expect Angry Joe to say. But sorry to break it to you, but almost all the war bonds you can spend money on are pay-to-win. If someone doesn't have any of the war bonds and didn't and just have the base game one, while gun wise they may have like appropriately some good stuff, they are severely like under other people when it comes to have access to war bonds. I mean, some of the best boosters and some of the best guns are behind war bonds. Some of them have even like gear that trivializes super hell dive, yet no one says anything. The superstore sells armor that directly impacts your gameplay with specific perks that can and have been broken. That also is pay to win. Yet you didn't say anything. You see a gun now that has the same stats of a Liberator with a bigger mag capacity and slower reload, and it's suddenly now pay to win? Even if the gun was an AR variant of the Senator, or like it was the Tenderizer that shot adjudicator rounds with zero recoil, I still don't think that would be bad. This all stems from the major core issue that some people are addressing fairly, which is that the store needs to update its tracking. It needs to update its rotational model with more permanent options, which Arrowhead has already said that they are going to be handling. I mean, some of these are downright lies, saying that every weapon and armor and stratagem is locked behind a war bond when we have gotten plenty of free stratagems. There is plenty of free weapons out there to use. And I mean, we get free stuff pretty consistently compared to other games. But in the end, if the rotational timer wasn't present and we had more permanent options seen in other titles like Warframe, this wouldn't be as big of an issue as it is. I agree the stuff is overpriced, and coupled with the timer, it could get a little annoying. Honestly, an AR worth 615 super credits is a little crazy. I can see that. But I think we also need to control the messaging we see with our leaks and leakers who are not only like the sole marketer of the new stuff coming up, they can create mixed messaging. Imagine if the leak had never had happened. We would have never thought it was going to be a war bond, which would have probably lessened the blow a tiny bit more for a bit of the high prices that we see. How you can see it is we were going to get all this stuff for like $10, which is 1,000 super credits. Now we have to pay down $20 to $30 for just the first half, and another $20 or $30 for the next half down the line when it drops, which sucks. And that's because it was an unfair expectation put on us, and it was a bad decision by Arrowhead, probably forced by Sony. I don't know. I think that's like the main thing that everyone's going with. But I think the main issue is the rotational timer. Besides that, everything else is really just to complain. That's just my opinion on the matter. I know I will ruffle a few feathers out there, but not gonna lie to y'all. Besides rage baiting you to click on the video, I do respect most of the opinions out there on the topic. Remember, just like in a democracy, the most important thing you can do is vote. So vote with your wallet, and if you don't like these things being done, don't spend money, all right? If you spend money and you're out here mad as hell that the AR is worth 615 super credits and you spend $10 to get that AR, I want you to know your words literally mean nothing because you still spent the money, okay? You need to start voting with your wallet. And I guess that's all I got. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and remember, be safe.